Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Will Brendan Rodgers be Manchester United's next manager? Now, Caught Offside said yesterday that Brendan Rodgers has verbally agreed to take over as Manchester United's new manager, but his preference would be to wait until next season. Now, would you take Brendan Rodgers at Manchester United? Well, he's a far superior manager to Solskjaer, and I've got to admire the work Brendan Rodgers has done at Leicester. At Leicester, he has won the Community Shield and the FA Cup. He's been in charge of Leicester for almost 3 years. He's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. He's managed quite a lot of clubs. Before Leicester, he managed Celtic. He endured a few years with Celtic and he won quite a few trophies with them. Before, he's managed Liverpool. He endured one good season with Liverpool. He didn't win anything though at Liverpool. At Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers emulated the football he produced at Swansea. Obviously, he did well at Swansea. He's managed Watford before, he's managed Reading, and a long time ago he managed Chelsea's youth. It did say earlier on this season that Man United wanted Brendan Rodgers over Conte, and Mark Ogden came out and said that Brendan Rodgers is a potential replacement for Solskjaer. Now, there's a lot of Manchester United fans that would like to see Zinedine Zidane come in. Zinedine Zidane is now available because he left Real Madrid in the summer. I've got to admire the work Zinedine Zidane did at Real Madrid. You know, he won a lot of trophies as Real Madrid manager. Zidane has not yet managed in the Premier League, and I think it would be good to see him come and experience the Premier League. Now, Manchester United have already held talks with Zinedine Zidane. Reports from Spain did say the other week that Zidane rejected the Newcastle job as he's waiting for the Man United or France job. There again, reports from Spain said earlier on this season that Zinedine Zidane was not interested in becoming Manchester United manager, as he mentioned that he's enjoying life away from football management. And if Zidane came to Manchester United, he would be reuniting with Cristiano Ronaldo, because Zidane did work with Ronaldo at Real Madrid. Erik ten Hag has also been mentioned. He's a good manager. He's done very well at Ajax. Ralf Rangnick, he's also been mentioned. I heard that he could come in as the interim manager until the end of the season. Pochettino, he's still being spoken about. Pochettino is highly rated by Sir Alex Ferguson. Pochettino is PSG's manager at the moment. We tried to get Pochettino when he was managerless. You know, Pochettino held talks and that with the club. I thought Pochettino did very well in his 5.5 years at Tottenham. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. But back in 2018, Pochettino guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. I think Tottenham made a mistake sacking Pochettino. He's a good manager, even though he didn't win anything at Tottenham. Roberto Mancini, he got mentioned the other day. But in regards to Solskjaer, it's come out today and said that there's no indication that Manchester United are going to replace Solskjaer as manager, despite the defeat to Man City. Manchester United are prepared to give Solskjaer a little bit more time. Solskjaer is expected to stay in charge for the game against Watford after Joe Glazer's decision. I hope we don't stick with Solskjaer until the end of the season. Manchester United have to pay Solskjaer £7.5 million if they decide to sack him, because in the summer Solskjaer signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's an option of a further year. We certainly made a mistake giving Solskjaer that contract. A lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. If Solskjaer cared about the club, he would resign. But Solskjaer isn't going to resign. The players are not playing for the manager, so that's telling me that the players have given up on Solskjaer. And Solskjaer's also losing a lot of fans. Solskjaer is under serious pressure because Manchester United have already won one of their last 6 Premier League games. After the 2-0 defeat to Manchester City last weekend, Solskjaer did admit that the Man City defeat was a big step backwards, and Solskjaer also said that Man United were outclassed by Man City. After the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool at Old Trafford, Solskjaer should have been sacked. If we'd have sacked him after that Liverpool defeat, I do believe Manchester United would have got Antonio Conte. I wanted Antonio Conte, but we can't get him now because he went to Tottenham. Solskjaer has been given long enough at Manchester United. He's been in charge of Manchester United for almost 3 years. And this season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. And I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer because he's got big expectations to exceed. The expectations are far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager, and Solskjaer is in a position that he shouldn't be in. Ole's definitely not capable of winning trophies as Manchester United manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. I adore Solskjaer a lot, just like all Manchester United fans do, reflecting on what he's done for the club. You know, at the end of the day, Solskjaer is a club legend. He endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. And the reason Solskjaer's lasted as long as he has done is because he's a legend of the club. Disregarding him being a legend of the club, I can assure that he would have been sacked a long time ago. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager, and his decision making is a big concern because analysing the vast majority of the games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive. You know, Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, made 4 signings, brought Tom Heaton in on a free from Villa, brought Sancho in from Dortmund, brought Varane in from Real Madrid, and Man United re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years, spent around £141 million. Plus Solskjaer received very strong backing by the board. Solskjaer's enjoyed like 5 transfer windows now as permanent Man United manager. And Manchester United have got a very good squad. It's a title winning squad, so in reality we should be winning the Premier League this season, or at least challenging for the league. Man United have not won the Premier League since 2013. So reflecting on what I've just said, Manchester United should be doing much, much better than they are. I think Man United are now, 6th or 7th in the league. You know, if things carry on the way that they have been, Man United won't even finish in the top 4 this season. And if we finish out the top 4, that means we won't get qualification for the Champions League for next season. Then reflecting on that, that will persuade our star players to leave. You know, when Solskjaer does get sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson. Because Man United have already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes, sacked Louis van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. And Man United are not even really known as a sacking football club because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. And the reason he got the job on a permanent basis was reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. But you can't just put all the blame on Solskjaer, reflecting on the poor performances and poor results. There's also players that have got to take responsibility as well for those poor performances. It's never just all the manager's fault. Manchester United are going to offload players next year. We know Martial's going to be going next year. I think Mata's going next year. I think Cavani's going next year. I think Lingard's going next year. I think Van der Beek's going next year because Van der Beek is not getting enough game time at Man United. I think Matic will go next year. Looks like Pogba's going next summer on a free transfer because it's already mentioned that Paul Pogba wants out and Pogba's refused to sign a new contract. Mark Ogden said earlier on this season that Man United are prepared to let Paul Pogba leave on a free transfer next summer after accepting that the midfielder will not sign a contract. I think Tellez is going next year. I think Jones and Bailly are going next year. I think Dalot's going next year. And I also think Dean Henderson will go out on loan. Because obviously Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities because De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back. But Manchester United have got some very, very good players. But the biggest problem is that we're not playing as a natural team. We're a team of individuals, like a lot of pundits have spoke about. you've got the likes of City, Liverpool and Chelsea and all of that play as an actual team, and that explains why they're in a much better position than Manchester United at the moment. But anyway, we've got David De Gea. That's a very, very good goalkeeper. I've got to give De Gea a lot of credit because I think he's done really, really well this season. Recently did well against Man City. I recall De Gea making 4 good saves in that first half to deny Cancelo twice, he denied De Bruyne and he denied Jesus. If it weren't for De Gea, that would have been Liverpool Part 2. De Gea, though, was partly to blame for Manchester City's second goal by Bernardo Silva. Don't forget, De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back because in the summer, De Gea decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place. And De Gea said he was determined to fight for his Man United future. This season is De Gea's 11th season at Man United, so he's been a long servant. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. He's got under 2 years left on his contract and he receives £375,000 a week. De Gea has made 350 appearances in the Premier League. That game against City was his 350th Premier League appearance. But he has made over 500 appearances in all competitions and he's won everything domestically at the football club. You've got Dean Henderson, that's a good goalkeeper as well, but like I said not so long ago, doesn't really get in the team. He's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season, that was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. Don't forget, at one point though, Dean Henderson was out with COVID for a while. But Dean Henderson got the number 1 last season and did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. Before the start of last season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United. So reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Henderson has got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before. Wan-Bissaka, he's a good right back as well. He's had good games this season. He's also had bad games as well. Wan-Bissaka was recently poor against Man City. But it was a shame because in recent weeks he's been in scintillating form. There's aspects of Wan-Bissaka's game that's got to improve. I think he's got to show more attacking intent. His position has to improve, maybe his crossing needs to improve a bit more, so that's it. But I think defensively, he's very, very good. He's one of the best right-backs we've had since Neville. This season is Wan-Bissaka's 3rd full season at Man United. We got him for $50 million from Crystal Palace back in the summer of 2019. You've also got Luke Shaw, that's a good left-back, but I've got to make an admission regarding Luke Shaw. I think he's been absolutely abysmal so far this season. Where was the Luke Shaw from last season? Because last season Luke Shaw was superb. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. Luke Shaw recently played in the game against Man City and he was very, very poor in that one. He was the main culprit for Man City's second goal by Bernardo Silva. Now Luke Shaw's out with injury. He came off injured against Man City, got replaced by Tellez. Earlier on this season, Luke Shaw had a minor injury and illness. He is injury prone. Shaw's our first choice left back. He's been our first choice left back for a while, and Stu remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Tellez. Shaw's been at Manchester United for 7.5 years, so he has been a long-serving player. He's got under 2 years left on his contract. You've got Eric Bailly, that's a good centre-half, but I thought he was very, very poor against Man City. Obviously, City's first goal came from an own goal by Bailly. Wasn't only the own goal, I just thought his overall performance was just absolutely shocking. And I was shocked in that aspect because Bailly put a good performance out in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta last week. Made some good interventions and some good blocks. He also played well in the game against West Ham in the Carabao Cup earlier on this season. Bailly's made 3 appearances so far this season. He doesn't get regular game time. He lost his place in the team a while ago with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window. And for some reason, Solskjaer prefers Lindelof ahead of Eric Bailly. My element of concern about Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he's a liability. Towards the end of last season, he signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. We got him for 30 million from Villarreal back in 2016. We brought him in under the Mourinho era. Bailly's been at Manchester United for 5.5 years now. We've got Varane, that's also a very good centre-half. Obviously, Varane played no part against City because he's out with a hamstring injury. He's out for up to a month. Varane came off injured in the first half in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. He had to be replaced by Greenwood. Varane only just come back from a groin injury not so long ago. He was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Varane initially made his return in the 3-0 win against Tottenham, and he put a very good performance out. Varane's done well in quite a few games for Man United, but there's been a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. We got him for 41 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year. Varane to Man United was official just before the kick-off against Leeds, which was the opening day. He's regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced and he's got a good pedigree behind him, because he did win a lot of trophies when he was at Real Madrid, and he was also a long-serving player at Real Madrid. You've got Harry Maguire. Yes, he's good when he wants to be, but he has not proven how good he can be so far this season. He's been absolutely abysmal so far this season. He's been poor since he came back from that calf injury. The best game I recall Maguire having this season was the 3-0 win against Tottenham the other week, despite Maguire getting booked in that game. Maguire was a miss for Man United towards the end of last season because he had ligament damage in his ankle. Man United overpaid for Maguire, got him in a deal worth 80 million from Leicester, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. You've got Paul Pogba, that's also a good player as well. Not only a good player, he's an imperative player. Pogba didn't play against City because obviously he's suspended. Pogba's only got 1 game now to serve out of the 3-match ban he got. Pogba got sent off for a 2-footed challenge on Naby Keita in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. Pogba though played in the 2-2 draw with Atalanta last week, and he was very, very poor in that one. He made a lot of errors and he just looked sloppy. And reflecting on that, he got heavily criticised. You got Van der Beek. That's a good player as well, but I haven't had much of a perception on him at Man United. Revert back to what I've mentioned before. You know, Van der Beek does not get enough game time, and Solskjaer should be starting Van der Beek, especially in the Premier League, because he's a good player, like I've just mentioned. Van der Beek recently came on against Man City and he made an impact. He also came on in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta and made an impact. I cannot believe Matic is ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. But yeah, Van der Beek will leave in January, like I've already mentioned. Because obviously he's not happy at Man United with his lack of game time. Before the Liverpool game, Solskjaer did admit that Van der Beek was frustrated and disappointed over his situation at Old Trafford. And earlier on this season, it did mention that Van der Beek was furious with Solskjaer. He's endured a difficult 19 months at Man United, hasn't he? And, you know, this season is his second full season at Man United. Got him for 40 million, with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. You know, you've got Sancho. That is a good player overall, but I've got to make an admission and say he has endured a bad start to his Manchester United career, but he's not to blame. I think Solskjaer's to blame, because when Solskjaer decides to play him, he persistently plays him out of position. Obviously fans have been getting on Sancho's back, but there's quite a few games that Sancho doesn't even play in. You know, Sancho did recently come on against Man City and he made an impact, to be fair. Sancho will do well at Man United, providing that he's used correctly. It does take some players time to settle in. Does Sancho have a future at Man United? That is the question. We got Sancho in a deal worth 78 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till June 2026. There's an option of a further year. And you've got Mason Greenwood. That's also a very, very good player. Greenwood recently played against Man City. Obviously, he was playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. That partnership doesn't work out. Greenwood obviously came on in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta and got an assist. He made an impact. Greenwood scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. He's got 4 goals, I think, in the league so far this season. At one point, though, Greenwood did go a while without scoring. Greenwood made his senior debut for United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and last season Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. I can assure he's got a long-term future at Man United. Obviously, we got Marcus Rashford. That's also good as well. I think he's done well in quite a few games since he's come back, but on the other side of things, he's been poor in a few games as well. Rashford came on against Man City. Didn't do too bad. He was poor in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta. He came on as a substitute in the 3-0 win against Tottenham and he scored a very good breakaway goal. He scored in the 3-2 win against Atalanta at Old Trafford. He was absolutely abysmal in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. His positioning was poor in that game and he played an horrendous back pass that could have been costly. And he scored in his comeback in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester, did Rashford. Don't forget, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he did have to have an operation on his shoulder. But Rashford's been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So he's been in our senior squad now for like 5.5 years, and he's got a contract with Man United till 2023. A lot of the time Rashford does play on the left wing. He's far superior on the left wing to the right wing and up top. You know, obviously we've got Bruno Fernandes, that's very, very good as well. You know, we've got Cavani, that's good, but unfortunately I think Cavani's going to be leaving next year, like I've already mentioned. And obviously we've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, Ronaldo's infuriated with what's going on at Manchester United, and he's even mocked Solskjaer's tactics. Yes, Ronaldo did recently play in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. He was anonymous in that game because he hardly got any service. Yes, he did have 2 good chances in the game. Edison had to produce 2 good saves to deny him. But one of the chances for Ronaldo was actually offside, so he wouldn't have counted anyway. Ronaldo saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta last week because Ronaldo scored twice in stoppage time at the end of both halves. Ronaldo also scored the winner in the reverse fixture against Atalanta at Old Trafford. He scored the winner against Villarreal earlier on this season. He scored a very good volley in the 3-0 win against Tottenham. We are relying on Ronaldo far too much, and we need to stop doing that. Recently, Ronaldo got named Player of the Month for October. That's back-to-back awards because he got named Premier League Player of the Month back in September. But he's done well since he's re-signed. Ronaldo scored 9 goals in all competitions so far. You know, Ronaldo's won 5 Ballon d'Ors and 32 major trophies in his playing career. So there you go. There's also inconsistent players at Man United. I don't think Matic is good enough, even though he has had his good games. Fred's certainly not good enough either. We've got to get rid of him next year. Man United overpaid for Fred, got him in a deal worth 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't think McTominay is good enough, but I probably would give him a bit more time. Fred and McTominay play a hell of a lot of games alongside each other, and a lot of United fans have had a go at Solskjaer for persistently selecting Fred and McTominay in the centre midfield. I don't think Lingard's good enough, but Lingard doesn't really get in the team anyway. Martial's definitely not good enough either. I don't think Lindelof's good enough. Dalot, he isn't either, but Dalot doesn't even get in the team really, does he? Dalot will only play when Wan-Bissaka's not available. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.